Welcome back to another episode of Mars Day with Mark. It's your host with the most, Mr. Meyer with the fire, here to share ideas and take the collective vibration higher. Today is a good day, very good week ahead. This is your favorite astrology podcast, and I'm about to put it on blast. Here's the chart. Let me move my beautiful face out the way, guys. This video comes from the heart. I hope you enjoy it. Everything gets better from here, guys. So this is the astrology of the week, starting from July 16, ending on July 23rd. That's Tuesday to Tuesday, Mars Day with Mark. There's about three major things that I want to highlight this week, guys. First one is we have our full moon in Capricorn. And this happens every year, but it's not every year that we get two in a row. We just had one on the 21st of June, and now we're having another one on the 21st of July. Oh my. So we're going to talk about that. We've got the sun switching signs from Cancer to Leo. It's a whole new season, whole new time to shine. So that's really exciting. And number three, we've got Mars moving from Taurus into Gemini. And that's great because Mars doesn't really fuck with Taurus. So good times are coming, good times are here. And I'm just excited to share the week with you guys. If you enjoy this video at any point, please do consider leaving a like so that this video can reach more people. It just helps the channel out tremendously. So without further ado, what we're going to do is the degree breakdown. I'm going to show you the placements right now as I speak. I'm going to fast forward a week in advance, and then we can go through those major highlights, okay? So first of all, guys, we're starting this week with the sun in Cancer at 24 degrees. Like I said, we're about to switch season. It's our last full week of Cancer. So that's really cool. Cancer is all about the moon. So we want to make sure we're living by the tides, trusting our feelings, honoring our emotions, things of that nature. This chart is fucked up, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. For my electional astrologers, it's not the best chart, but it's not the worst chart. It's just this anaretic Scorpio moon at 29, opposing Uranus and Mars. So I guess needless to say, the moon right now is in its detriment. It's in Scorpio. We are waxing, we're moving to the full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be somewhere around here. It's actually going to be on the last degree of Capricorn because we'll have it on the last day of Cancer. All right, so today we've also got Mercury transiting Leo at 21 degrees. That's beautiful. Venus at 6 degrees of Leo. That's beautiful. We've got Mars at 27 Taurus. Oh my. Jupiter is at 11 degrees of Gemini. Saturn is retrograde at 19 Pisces. We've got Uranus and Taurus right there next to Mars at 26 Taurus. Neptune is also retrograde at 29 degrees of Pisces, and Pluto is retrograde at 1 degree of Aquarius. And we love to see it. 1 week from now, guys, here are the stats. Here's the degrees. So that moves our sun into the first degree of Leo. Get the fuck excited, guys. This is the Leo's time to shine. This is going to be my month, guys. I'm going to be acting stupid and crazy and amazing. And this is about to be my month. Let me just say that twice, guys. You know, if you couldn't tell already by this point, your boy is a Leo sun. I am moving on because this show is about me, but it's really about us. My whole name is in the title, guys. But you got the moon in Pisces about a week from now. And at that point, we'll be in our waxing phase because we'll break that new moon or the full moon. Pardon me. We've got Mercury at 28 degrees of Leo, right exactly where it was when I was born. I'm going to have my Mercury return next week. So you boys should be talking real good around then. We got Venus moving up to 15 Leo. We got Mars, hallelujah, 2 degrees of Gemini. It's about fucking time. Mars and Taurus is simply some bullshit. No shade to anybody with that placement in their chart. I just don't know how you do it. I low key kind of do know how you do it because my Mars is all so debilitated. We'll talk about that. Not me, but debilitated Mars energy. We got Jupiter moving up 1 degree to 12 Gemini. Saturn moves back just a few minutes. We make it back to 18 degrees. We've got Uranus basically just hovering, just floating around at 26 Taurus at the end of the week. Neptune will move back a few minutes. Pluto will move back a few minutes. And apart from that, guys, the outer planets don't really move too fast. We got Lilith creeping around at like 1 or 2 degrees of Libra. South node and north node really are going to hover around 10 degrees of Libra and Aries, respectively. I'm pretty sure I said south node first. And you can see them, south node in Libra, north node in Aries. But let's break it down, guys. So, really, there's not too much to say besides those three major events, but remember that life is what you make it. Every day is a new day and an opportunity to create. With the sun in Cancer, this is a very deeply emotional time. We've had 24 days of Cancer, going on 25 for real. So this will be the last full week of Cancer season. So do send some love to your Cancer friends and family, and let them know that you appreciate them, that you see them, that you care for them. Cancer is the element, the archetype of care. So beyond the people in your life, it's just important to give yourself that TLC, that tender love, caring, and nurturing. The TLCN, fuck yeah. You know, emotions carry information. Connection is therefore direction. You really got to listen to what your feelings tell you, because your higher self, your inner guidance, you could even call it, it will lead you through feelings of ease or resistance. So it's just important to honor that inner voice and listen to it, because Cancer, simply put, is ruled by the moon. The moon in everybody's chart shows us how we internally operate. So that's really been the whole theme of the month. And to separate it, we go from Cancer to Leo, which means going from moon to sun. Okay. And basically, the difference between the two is the moon is internal and the sun is external. These are the two parts of the ego, the in and the out. All right. So, Cancer season for the last 25 days has kind of got us a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit more closed off, more in our feelings, so to speak. Privacy, comfort, security, all these things really take a priority when it comes to being in the energy and spirit of Cancer. Family matters is something that, also comes with it. The heart space, the heartstrings, these are the things that we're really going to be paying attention to and tugging on. Okay. And let me just tell you one thing. Let me move it through day by day so you can see what I'm saying. But this week, the sun will be opposite to Pluto basically all week. So that is just something to look for. We go day by day starting this Tuesday. We can already see the opposition in the chart, that red line along the middle. But day by day, as the sun moves closer to Leo, until that very first day, which is going to be, by most people's standards, it's the 23rd of July, but today or this year, the 22nd of July, we'll see the sun at 0 degrees of Leo. But at that point, guys, the sun is already going to be, fully opposite to Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And then where we end the week on the 23rd, 1 degree with the sun, we're still going to have the Pluto opposition. So my point is, guys, all week we have the sun opposite Pluto. And it will really peak on intensity, the day of the full moon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which isn't really one day, but, the weekend, I could say. So what does that mean? The sun is our self. It's the ego, the identity. It represents the heart, even the spine, the power, the drive, the constitution. Sun could be simplified as energy, guys. So really, when it comes to sun opposite Pluto, the simplest way is evolving our energy. But this might add a depth to the way that you end up seeing yourself or conceptualizing you. Okay? To me, the sun also reflects the hero's journey, about how we build our identity, how we go through the mission and learn our lessons and, go through the development of ourself. So the Pluto Sun opposition is really going to give us a snapshot at who are we and what is the journey about? Why the hell are we doing this in the first place? It's a vision of a greater you. This says that the ego will go through some transformation, some revolution. So your job this week is just to be positive, to be loving towards yourself, and to not get too stuck in the future or in the past. Okay. Try to be present. And through that presence, through that conscious awareness, these energies should bring you a more refined, more washed and pure version of yourself. And this also just says, guys, let yourself grow out of any identity that doesn't serve you anymore. Is there a role that you're playing, a persona that you attach to that just doesn't serve you anymore? Give yourself permission to change. Pluto, I really think there's nothing bad in astrology, even though some of these energies lately have been eh. They've been eh. You make this change, or the change can be made for you. Pluto is primarily going to be an unconscious factor, but the sun is a conscious factor. So I want to just prime everybody ahead of time for this week, because Pluto is the archetype of death and the sun is the archetype of the self, right? So if we just use our imagination, I could probably just stop there and let you come up with some pictures. But I foresee for some people this weekend, this full moon, with this opposition energy, this will bring a little bit of pain into our experience of personality or self-concept identity. That's not a bad thing, of course. Like I said, that's just growing. So I don't know who needs to hear this shit before Pluto goes opposite the sun, or vice versa. I should really say, just remember, there's nothing fucking wrong with you. Life is a trip. Life is crazy. And sometimes there'll be a disconnect or distance between you and what your dreams are, what your inner vision shows you. So don't assume that there's something wrong just because the map and the terrain look a little different in the current moment, okay? Give yourself time, give yourself permission to change, and then you'll see that time can even work on your behalf, okay? And I just want to zoom in. Let's go to it now, actually, because the sun is going to move into Leo this week, guys, on Monday, the 22nd of July. And that is beautiful because, like we talked about, rather than being internally operating from Cancer, now we're operating external. And the sun rules Leo. So if you've ever met a Leo, they're interesting people. They're different. And there's a spectrum when it comes to Leo, because this is the sun in its home sign. So that's life personified, basically. And you'll see that some Leos are very bold and charismatic and loud and theatrical, adventurous, dramatic, even. But on the exact opposite spectrum, because of polarity, you'll see that a lot of Leos are very self-centered. That's going to make them shy, reserved. They may be self-deprecating, more critical at that point as well. And they may not like attention, or they might do, I mean, this kind of flips back to the first side of the pole, but when a Leo isn't centered in themselves, they're really going to do damn near anything to get attention, even things that are out of character. Even a good Leo loves attention, loves to be seen, loves to be noticed. But the beautiful thing about Leo, take it from somebody with this placement, is to be fulfilled, to be happy, to find joy through the self. Leo is the joy that life provides, period. Because life is good, life is fun. And even if you don't have placements in Leo, I do want to say, guys, Leo is, again, ruled by the sun. So when you look at your sun sign, your placement of your sun, and you align with that energy, the sign, the house, the aspects, the rulership, you're going to find yourself happy. You're going to find yourself living your life to the fullest. You're going to find yourself a lot more pleased with existence, okay? So let's talk about this polarity, this archetype that we're going to be experiencing all week, but especially when it comes to the signs themselves, Leo, Aquarius. This really helps us get an eye and a lens to view this through, okay? Because Leo is the sign of self. Aquarius is the sign of the group, the community, okay? The polarity between the two is really the polarity of the will. And that's the mantra for Leo. It says, I will. You can do anything you put your mind to and your heart to. So there is just a fundamental bridge or disconnect between these two energies right now. The creative self-actualization, which is Leo, and then the individuation process, or our connection with the group. So that's just going to say, who the hell am I? And what's my job in this world? What's my role? And just something to ponder on. The answer that comes from you is generally the most important answer. I think one theme here is just finding your place in this world, knowing where you fit in, learning to love and embrace yourself. Once again, Pluto adds some darkness too. So I think that this is going to ask us to get more involved with the world. And in that process of interacting and showing up, serving, being present, even, you'll start to realize more about yourself. You'll start to realize the things you love about yourself or the things that you may think need more development. And our interaction with people is really going to be how we clarify our image and sense of self. So that's also what's going on here in the mix as well. You got to surround yourself with good people, good company, good friends, and also on some level, develop yourself to the point where you can be an inspiration, where you can be a leader. And everybody grades their life by a different rubric, of course. So I think my final point for this conversation is that by loving, accepting, and truly embracing yourself, others can benefit from truly knowing you. And whether or not they have the same values, that's besides the point. That doesn't matter. But this world needs truth in order to grow in depth, connection, and complexity. So we don't win. Nobody wins when we sell ourselves short, when we stifle our self expression, when we try to be somebody that we're not. Okay. And Leo is a fire sign. Fire is about spirit, it's energy, it's inspiration. And it's okay to be inspired, guys. It's okay to look at things in life like other people or circumstances and think, I want that. But there's a difference between being inspired and taking that action and then also just trying to be something that you're not. Okay. So this week, the sun comes with a glaring message to just be yourself and love yourself, to appreciate who the fuck you are. And it's going to be a really good week, guys. And embrace the darkness, because as we head out of the last degrees of Cancer and into the first degree of Leo, it comes with some ambiance. It feels like you're walking into a haunted house for real. And it's spooky, and there's howling, and there's smoke and smog and music, and it just is giving this creepy feel. But the crazy thing is, the scariest thing you're gonna fucking find in this house is your goddamn self. So don't even worry about it, man. You are the light. And if you find yourself in the darkness, just know that means it's your time to shine. Okay? Okay. So let's back that ass up. Let's go back to Tuesday where we started. All right. And, just remember, guys, it's a good week. We create our lives. So ultimately, there's something to say about this shit unfolds the way that you describe it, the power of perception. So a little, I don't want to call it mundane because this is magical, but intermittent reminder to use your resources, use your tools. That comes from my Virgo rising ass, guys. Make sure you're meditating, make sure you're journaling, make sure you're getting some movement every day and just taking care of your true needs, and you'll see life work even better on your behalf. Okay. Because really what this brings us up to, guys, is the moon. Let's talk about the moon this week. So today, the moon is in Scorpio. And this is a start of this week has been fucking crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed last week. Of course, if you wanted to retroactively look at the astrology of the week before, you can check out Mars Day with Mark 57 and kind of think about how it went. But this last week ended off kind of rough with the moon in Scorpio going through the detriment. Also, we had the Uranus Mars conjunction hit perfectly yesterday. So, that finally broke while the moon was in Scorpio. And that's just deep, intense feelings and kind of an erratic, nervous undertone to all of the things that's going on in life. Breakthrough energies or breakdowns. And sometimes these are really the same thing, is kind of where this week started off. So, the moon is going to make its way into Sagittarius on Wednesday, like really in about an hour on Tuesday night. Like I'm filming this Tuesday night, of course, but Wednesday, we're going to be pretty lighthearted. We're going to be moving through our feelings, just trying to see what life has to offer, what we can learn from our experience. I see the moon making an opposition to Jupiter. So on Wednesday, I feel like there's also going to be this need to, connect with higher source, higher wisdom. I like to create a schedule for myself and, adapt it as necessary. Mercury rules over Wednesday, guys. So I really find this is a great time to, do a lot of praying and petition and connecting with spirit, and learning how to bridge that gap, build those relationships too. And of course, in the I want to say in the morning, let me go hour by hour. Then, well, this is really going to be Thursday. Yeah, Thursday morning, we're going to have Mercury or the moon making a nice square to Saturn. And that's empowering, that's stabilizing, that's structuring. But also, the Saturn energy is cold and dry and restrictive as well. So when it comes to Thursday morning, just wake up with an extra dose of love and do something special for yourself that makes you feel seen and supported. And, you know, with the nature of the moon Saturn, it may be more, business things that you're correlated to, interested in interacting with, organizing your life. You might be thinking more about the future and your long-term goals and plans. And that's beautiful. So my message here is like you may need more love and care when it comes to this moon square Saturn on Thursday morning. But the way that that's going to appeal to us is probably going to be through something that deals with our sovereignty or our success or being able to be more stable in reality. So I find that moon Saturn aspects, this is often a time where you want to be by yourself a little bit, or you may kind of feel a little bit more closed off or more restricted on the inside. So it's again really important that you let your feelings flow when we got this moon going through Sagittarius, especially when it's making that square to Saturn, and then later on it'll be making it square to Neptune. So Thursday is a very emotional day, guys. I just want to point that out. At some point we'll even have the moon going in conjunct the sun as it's between the square of Neptune and Saturn. Let me draw this out, guys, because I know you can see the chart, but let me like point these things out, guys. You got Neptune and Saturn very close, like about a 10-degree orb. And there's going to be a square going between both of them at the same time with an in conjunction to the sun. So something doesn't feel right here. It feels kind of fucked up. All right. But the beautiful thing is that if you just recognize the higher order and power and know that there are some interesting aspects, you should be able to really ride this wave pretty great. I'm on the boat. This is your captain speaking, guys. I'm looking through the the thing, like the visor that has it's like the land, it's like the submarine panel. I'm looking above and I'm looking out into the ocean, and I just see this is a pretty big wave coming. And our boat is meant to handle it, but just know that you might cry a little bit, and that's totally okay. Who here has been crying their ass off when it comes to Cancer season? Because when it kind of takes a while to hit me, or 25-ish days into it, and it probably took me about a week or two in Cancer season before I shed the first tear. And let me be clear, guys, there's times in life, with my afflicted moon and my Cancer Mars and Venus where I just be crying every day, happy or sad. But I felt like emotionally constipated this month. And then a couple weeks in, then I find those waterworks, and here we go with the emotions. And especially when that moon hit Scorpio, I was like, okay, damn. So there's the flood. Here it is, being really emotional. But thank God we have feelings, because connection is direction. Good stuff. So, what else I could say? Sagittarius is about spirituality. And again, moving on from Wednesday, Thursday, moon and Sag energy, it's a great time to really talk to your higher self. Again, listen to that inner guidance. Who am I? And, what is my place in life? And how does divinity speak to me? I think is the beautiful question. So, talking about Friday, this is when the moon moves its way into Capricorn. Most of us will wake up with the moon in Capricorn, and that's really about getting down to business, guys, getting things organized. And, that sounds very mundane and micro, and it is. But keep in mind, guys, with the sun in Cancer, this means that this is where the full moon phase opens up. All right. And what that basically means is that we're culminating the lunar cycle. And this means that a release has to happen. The moon and the sun are going opposite. Okay. So Friday is not really the full moon. We're going to see the sun going through the earlier degree, or the moon going through the earlier degrees of Capricorn. But Friday also kind of has a pretty important undertone with the moon going square the nodes. This just is going to kind of prompt us for the full moon, asking us to truly connect with ourselves and ask ourselves, are we happy? Are we fulfilled? How do you feel? And what message do those emotions give us? And this is really important in context of your family and your personal life and even the direction of your heart. If I could summarize the moon with one word that I think describes it the best, it would just be personal. The moon is the most personal planet because it moves the fastest around everybody's body. Okay. So Saturday night, we're going to have the moon at about 24, 25 Capricorn. And that's really going to say, guys, like the moon is going to go full in the early morning of Sunday. And keep in mind, I'm filming this in Central Standard Time in the basically like the middle of America. Okay. So adjust your time zone accordingly. But for me, for us over here, guys, the full moon is literally going to peak in the morning on Sunday. 29 Capricorn, 29 Cancer. And what I have to say about that is that if you are magically inclined, if you are a witch, if you do like to live with cycles and, bend the world according to your will, you'd have more leverage doing spell work on Saturday night. Saturday night would be the time to really get shit going and to really raise your energy, exhaust yourself, do, your manifestation or release ritual or both. Pardon me. And then when you go to sleep, that energy will already have been sent into the universe and you get your rest and you wake up different. You wake up with some change. Okay. And if it harms none, do what thou wilt. You can do whatever the hell you want, guys. But because I'm talking about this, I just want to kind of add that a few good ideas for this one would be a release ritual because the moon will be full. It will start waning after this and letting go of light in our sky, which symbolizes release. And the question is, what doesn't serve me right now? What things do you want to release? So get a piece of paper and write that down. I am releasing boom, 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 boom. I think the most beautiful way to see this is that when the moon is full, which it will be, it gives us a chance to be fulfilled. All right. Within the sign that it's in. This full moon is crazy, guys. I don't see a lot of people talking about this, but I'm going to bring it to your attention. I know last month when we had the first full moon in Capricorn, I said this is one of the most intense full moons of the year because the moon is in its detriment. We already know the moon rules Cancer, so we've got the moon not at home, but at work. Oh man, that's not a bad thing or a good thing. But what this basically means is it is a little bit more of a challenging place to deal with our emotions because it deals with what's external and not internal. Okay. So Capricorn is status, it's your business, it's your reputation. And I think we can all conceptualize that, but let's just reel it back and remember that Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. And this says the sign is all about foundation. It's about structure. It's about the solid world, the material world. Okay. And a lot of this will go through revision as well. And this doesn't like, think about this, guys. That doesn't mean earthquakes. It doesn't mean, you know, physical matter instability, but what you will see is that paradigms are going to shift. The structure that you've built your life on is going to shift. Okay. So it'd be really wise to understand where your Saturn placement is as well, not just the moon, but also know where Saturn is because that's the paradigms that you hold. Okay. So I think that the most beautiful thing that we're going to see across the board, guys, is that deeply embedded fear is going to be released as well. Okay. So we like that. We've got the moon conjunct to Pluto, guys. This is what I was saying. I don't see people talk about this because I don't know if everybody knows this shit, but let me put you on game, guys. This full moon is conjunct to Pluto on the same degree. I mean, probably 1 degree away. It's really on the same position, Moon Pluto conjunction. And Moon and Pluto is one of the most interesting phenomenons or cycles in astrology because it shows us how multi-generational changes work personally and how we actually are forced to make change within ourselves. Okay. So when it comes to this one, it's auspicious. And I think that's weirdly good. That's how I define auspicious, where this divine intelligence that holds the universe together, it always works out for all of our best and highest good, no matter what that looks like. But when it comes to the moon illuminating slash forcing release into Pluto, this just means uncovering the nature of your soul. You know, when you turn a rock over in the woods, sometimes all you see is like a darker, wetter part of the rock. Sometimes there's a bunch of bugs under the rock. Sometimes, you might uncover a whole anthill or find something weird buried under the ground. So I kind of feel like this is what this full moon is about, where a lot of us are going to be able to make massive changes in our lives when it comes to our career or our goals or even our identity and paradigms. And, basically the moon in Capricorn going full this Saturday slash Sunday is a personal breakthrough for real. But you'll notice that it's way deeper than meets the eye, and things will feel a lot different, a lot more free, a lot more unencumbered slash less restricted. Okay. So I really love that. And I think that's the most positive way to see this, but that really requires and beckons you to claim your power, to see yourself as the creator and know that good, bad, ugly, or beautiful, you create your life. And by taking that full responsibility, by confronting that head on, you'll always empower yourself and serve to inspire others as well. Okay. So that's really what I'm getting for the Moon Pluto opposition. And I can't stress this shit enough because it's been a whole conversation for the month, guys. But listen to what your heart says. And it'll be the conversation for next month as well, because it's the ego, the moon and the sun. It's the internal and the external part of it. Okay. So, apart from that, let's watch the moon for the rest of the week, guys, and then we can move into the other planets. So right after the Capricorn moon, of course, we get the Aquarius moon, really on all of Sunday and Tuesday or Monday as well. Yeah, Sunday and Monday. And this is beautiful because on Monday, we'll see the moon opposing Venus, and that just feels like an abundance of love. That feels like a great time to connect with this world, to express ourselves, to be involved, be social even. And if your moon has you wanting to be by yourself, that's totally cool, because that's how Aquarius is sometimes. Sometimes Aquarius just rather be by itself and be the loner, be in the wolf energy, be lone wolfing. So on Tuesday, where we end this, we're going to be kind of switching signs from Aquarius to Pisces. All right. Pardon me. So the first thing I'm seeing that day on Tuesday is that, at the end of the week, we'll have the moon opposing Mercury. So this is going to make our minds really fast and active. Try not to overthink or be too nervous. Great time to organize your place, organize and structure and just clean and minimize and journal, get your thought processes sorted out. All right, guys. And then when it comes to Tuesday, this is the next week. So really all of Tuesday, we're going to have the moon in Pisces. And it's just important when the moon in Pisces that you have some form of creative outlet or something that you can do to transcend yourself. And that can look like a walk through nature. That could also look like watching a movie. It could look like playing a game. It could look like doing something fun or charitable, helping people, spending time with your friends. Everything in moderation. I don't usually like to say this because it can be a problem for some people, but if it's not a problem, maybe you can go celebrate with a nice drink or, just do something relaxing and treat yourself to something nice and indulgent. You don't want to this is the Pisces part, guys. You don't want to lose yourself in the indulgence. You don't want to escape life itself, but it's okay to loosen things up with Pisces, because that really makes us over emotional, makes us hyper connected. And when you feel hyper connected, you can start to feel overwhelmed by life. And then the worst thing is that if you don't really realize how your feelings are working, that can be the exact moment where you start to feel like everything's wrong with you. And there may not even be that. That might not even be the case. So then the way that we try to deal with the emotion comes from not just the stress of the emotion, but the resistance on top of it. And oftentimes that just means that, we want to hurt slash escape the self. And that's not going to help anybody in the world, you know? So let me just make this a repeat message of what I just said, guys. Take care of yourself, love yourself, don't put yourself in harm's way. Remember, you are loved. You matter in this world. People care about you. I fucking care about you. You care about you. You're an integral part of the divine will. I know we just took a lot of time talking about the moon, and we're going to move into Mercury and the other planets, but just know that the vision of the moon is the understanding of the machinery of the universe. So the challenge is just to trust. It's one word, just trust that everything serves a purpose. Everything is part of this machine. There's no extra parts. Everything is serving a purpose, okay? Even the things you don't want to feel, even the chapters of your life you wish you wouldn't have to live through, it all serves a purpose in divine timing. You'll be able to recognize this and count your blessings if you see it now, for real. Just know that you're loved, you're important, and you're special in this world. Even if you feel like the life you're living is kind of mundane or washed out or whatever, because we're making changes, guys. And I usually don't spend too much time going from the backwards in, or sometimes we don't even get all the way out to the end of the solar system. But I just want to say, guys, in Pluto Aquarius time, Uranus and Taurus time, and both of these interact very strongly. This is going to talk about a mass instability on the planet right now. Okay. And I choose to perceive everything so positively, but that's just really what this energy feels like to me, guys. Is if you look at society, you'll notice that these are really intense times. A lot of us feel like there might be wars about to break out. I personally believe that, in my lifetime, we can see a world without war, and there is fighting and violence on the planet already. I don't even like to get too political with this podcast, but if you're an American, you just saw some weird shit happen when it comes to political leaders and stuff. So it just seems like everybody's ornery and on one, and people feel angry and upset and scared and afraid and just confused. And man, it is a weird time to be a human, weird time to be on earth, but one of the best times. There's never been a time like this, guys. And we're always growing, even if growth seems clunky or disorganized or chaotic. Just trust and know that there's a higher purpose, higher plan. And on top of the conjunction and the Scorpio moon, I do want to show you guys something crazy, guys. Like, it's gonna get better, but these last couple days, I'm talking this Tuesday as I'm filming this, and the Monday right before, we've had the sun kind of afflicted. Sun square Chiron and square to Eris. The Eris square will be exact tomorrow, but I just feel like it's a lot about learning to get in touch with ourselves in a positive way. And you may see that you need healing when it comes to your personality, your life force, your energy. And then the latter, which is Eris, square the sun, not Chiron. Chiron is the healing archetype. Eris is about war. It's about strife. It's about chaos. Okay. And like, where are the hinges? Where is the door? I think the door got blown off. That's really Sun Square Eris. This really brings a passionate energy that calls us to rise up and fight. And the worst thing you can do is to try to destroy yourself in this world. But I will say, guys, this message has been coming up a lot in readings lately this week, that if you don't have targets in your life, if you don't have goals, that means you are the target. That means you're the goal. So while I'm not telling you to put yourself in harm's way, there can be a tremendous benefit from turning your energy in on yourself and just working on you from a place of love, not from a place of strife or contention. But you can do those push-ups with the mentality that, man, even if this hurts, it's because I love me. I can go to the gym because I love me. I can take that walk because I love me. I can meditate because I love me, not because there's something wrong with me fundamentally that needs to be fixed. It's like, the more I devote to me, the more I willfully pursue me, that's Eris Sun, the better the world gets, the better the world is. I'm a more evolved version. I have more to share with people, okay? So that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys. Keep your spirit high this week, because the sun is really going to be the main focus of this week, all right? And there's about a couple major aspects, really. And the first one that we start off with is the squares to Chiron and Eris. And then, like we talked about, the whole week, basically, we're going to be waxing into the Pluto Sun opposition. Okay. So it's a great character transformation week. And it's also a great week of just cleansing and purifying the energy and living a more vibrant and fulfilled life. Okay. So, needless to say, I'm going to say it anyway. It's a Mercury Leo week. All week, we're going to have Mercury in Leo. And Mercury is really the sign of, it's the planet of communication. It's how we perceive, it's how we receive, how we exchange information, all that shit. So, Mercury Leo has us communicating with confidence and power. And like we talked about earlier with the sun, it could be somewhere in the middle of the polarity. You might be really bold and charismatic and exuberant in the way you communicate, or on the exact opposite, you may not be trying to say anything right now with Mercury and Leo. You might be trying to keep it all to yourself. And really, the key here, the common denominator is that everybody's referring information back to themselves. Everything is way more self referential. It's all personal. It's all about me and how I connect to life. It's selfish. Okay. And I guess if I could make it more poetic and more beautiful, this is just a part of all of our lives where we're being encouraged to see ourselves as the storyteller, that life will unfold for us as we dictate it, as we create it. Okay. So, vitally important that you just be positive, that you be deliberate with the words that you use, with the ways that you communicate with yourself and others. Do your words serve you? Do your words empower you, or do they harm you or debilitate you? Do you speak life and love into others? Are you honest? Do you create falsehoods? These are the questions to be really analyzing. So, my best advice for Mercury Leo, take it from somebody with this placement, just keep it real with yourself and keep it real with others, and really say how you feel, even if it doesn't feel like the most appealing thing to say, because you can hurt your cause and hurt yourself sometimes by saying what you think other people want to hear as opposed to what you truly feel. Okay. Pardon me. I do want to kind of say that Mercury, it's our mental life, it's our attitude. And we do have some interesting aspects here this week. And they're going to really peak around this full moon as well. We'll have Mercury making a square to Uranus. And this is inspired intelligence. This is the higher intellect. So really around this full moon, just embrace this energy. There's some really good energy on the full moon that's really going to help us connect to a higher vision and really sort things out and organize them. So do be aware, Saturday night / Sunday morning, this energy. Pay attention to yourself and make sure you're writing so you can get a lot of this stuff down that is coming from within yourself, okay? Venus is going to be in Leo all week, guys. And Venus is how we love. And that's just another call to love yourself, to live your life to the fullest, to value and prioritize you. Okay. And also, this says about loving intentionally, being deliberate in the ways that we connect. And when people matter to you, when they earned a space in your life for some reason, do pour love into them, do make them feel special, do remind people why they matter to you personally. Okay. And that's Venus Leo energy, is treat yourself like a person that matters, like a person you're responsible for taking care of. Embrace yourself and give yourself permission to be a little selfish with your energy and your time. Be confident. Know that you're sexy. Know that you're beautiful. You know, sit up straight, back straight, shoulders back, confidence, chin up, chest out. That's what it's really about. And let every breath be a deeply cleansing and empowering breath under this Leo energy. I like Leo energy. I was born under this. I like it enough to have chosen this for myself. It's so good. And I'm grateful everybody can experience the Leo energy this week. One thing I also want to mention, guys, is, Mars getting out of its sign of Taurus and moving into the sign of Gemini. This is really beautiful, guys, because, Mars, it has an orbit that takes around 2 to 3 years, just depending on, retrograde cycles. It's about 2 years, give or take. Okay. So that's going to say, if you math it out with the 12 signs, Mars is going to spend anywhere between, like 4 to 6 weeks in a sign, or could be even like 4 months in a sign if it's like an extended retrograde period. So Mars has been in Taurus for about a month. Let's go back 1 month. Boom. Yeah, Mars was at 8-degree Taurus. It's been like 5 weeks of Mars in Taurus, give or take. And it's about 6 weeks. It's about over. Okay. So, Mars, it really governs our energy. It shows us how willpower works. It's the force that directs us to our goals and really helps us accomplish any task. Okay. And Mars doesn't necessarily like the sign of Taurus. I don't want to say there's anything bad about this placement because, you know, plenty of people are going to have it in their chart. And on that same note, it's important to know that Mars will go through your second house every single day of your life. So even if we're in Mars and Scorpio, know that we get a Mars Taurus energy for 2 hours every day. Okay. But I digress. Mars and Taurus really has us pumping the brakes and slowing down, guys. Mars is not just about action and energy, it also shows us how we remove, sever, and purify things from our life. This is a masculine energy. And, Mars governs cutting and removing. So, whatever sign it transits, there is going to need to be subtraction and minimization and even clarification. Okay. And when I think about Mars in the sign of Taurus, it feels like having a splinter. Okay. Like a splinter in your body. I mentioned earlier, I have a debilitated Mars in Cancer. A lot of times I feel like my splinter is in my fucking heart, Mars Cancer. But, the splinter has been in the body for all of us lately for the last 6 fucking weeks, guys. So what that just means is that, Mars and Taurus has us making changes in our lives, trying to ask ourselves, what do we even want from our life? What would make me truly happy? Is there an easier way to do this? Simplicity being key. Also, I've been kind of noticing over these 6 weeks that a lot of people have been feeling really fucking exhausted with Mars and Taurus because this is the planet, the sign, I should say, of our life force and our needs and our resources. But we got Mars here just removing shit. So, I hope that everybody comes out of this transit more powerful, more enriched. I know I certainly did, even if it was kind of difficult, especially with Uranus up in the mix, but we made it through, guys. This is really our last week of it. We start at 26. It'll be Sunday, Saturday, really, when you'll wake up in a new energy after that full moon. So the real key, guys, is that rather than prioritizing and focusing on our material needs, this will be more on our intellectual pursuits. And this is going to really just speed up our minds as well. And while Mars kind of had a Henri entrance into Taurus, it does have a little bit more of a promising entrance to Gemini because we have Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, and it's giving power, giving, which is Jupiter, power, which is Mars. So, we'll talk about this over the course of the month and see how it goes. But I just really feel like big blessings are coming this way, and really we're going to accelerate when it comes to our ability to receive luck and goodness from the cosmos. So good things are happening. I know that might be a little bit vague or broad, but just see how it goes, man. By trusting your intellect, your curiosities, your impulses, just really living and sharing that truth, Gemini energy, you're going to see good things coming your way. Okay. Mars in Gemini does say a lot. I remember last time Mars was in Gemini. It's going to really speed up our thought process, and it's going to be a time for us to really organize how we think, become very clear about how we communicate. And also, this really adds an intensity to technology. So I just encourage everybody ahead of time, watch how you drive, watch yourself in public, try to be aware, try to be present, keep your eyes on the road. Don't go too fast. Don't be speeding for no fucking reason. Take your time, dude. We had like a flash flood today, and I saw a car flipped, and it looked like everybody was okay. They were outside the car, but it kind of served as a reminder. I felt like, please be careful, guys, when you're driving, especially with these energies, because Mars is going to speed up how we drive or how we travel in general, even just energetically before we even touch the car. Okay. So beyond that, we do have Jupiter in the same sign. And Jupiter has a little bit of a hard time in Gemini. I'm going to be quite real, guys. So Jupiter is about spirituality, philosophical growth. And on some level, this would correlate to, our faith and our optimism or our sense of meaning we derive from life itself. So this is all coming through Gemini, the mind, the intellect. And I find that what that means is across the board, people have a more curious attitude towards life, and life will be more fascinating and beautiful and exciting to get involved with and learn through. But on the same note, on the more negative spectrum, you will see that it's easy to get lost in your thoughts. So you might have an abundance of them and you might overthink or be overstimulated, or I think at the very worst, have an existential crisis because it's giving you want to connect to a higher source of meaning, but all you get is fucking questions. Okay. That in itself isn't a bad thing because, you know, when a question is formed, the answer exists somewhere in the universe, but it's just worth noting, guys, that you aren't meant to have everything figured out. And if you expect yourself to, man, that's a fleeting goal and you're almost doomed to failure. Like the universe, it's the machinery is elite, guys. It's very beautiful. And it's just crazy because if you are a part of the machine, you can't really see the whole machine while you're in the machine. So just give yourself permission to be a little bit more human rather than trying to take your intellect to, the ninth dimension every single day while you're going through your tasks and stuff. While that can be very empowering on a spiritual level, it can sometimes be a little bit debilitating on a human level. So my message is just be human, guys. Try your best to be human, whatever that means to you. Saturn in Pisces, guys. So this is a 2 to 3 year long transit with Saturn. So it's not changed in a long time on this series. We have Saturn retrograde asking us to just really revise things within our life to get the structure right. And I know with this being the ruler of our full moon, we've probably talked this horse to death, man. But I will explain Pisces for a second and just remind you guys this is a sign of emotion, it's a sign of empathy, which talks about how do we feel and connect and where are our boundaries lying when it comes to relationships with ourselves or anybody else. So, do we need another message to love ourselves? Because this really feels like it. This is saying that sovereignty is key. We need to show up for ourselves in some way, shape, or form every single day to honor our feelings, honor our emotions. And by having empathy for ourselves, then we can really mature and love others. And I've heard it said that, you're not really mature until someone matters more than you. And that makes a lot of sense to me. But I think there's also something to be said that, if you don't matter to you, nothing matters to you. you know? So Saturn in Pisces just says, take care of yourself, man, and know that your dreams really can come true in this life. Anything can happen with will and persistence and discipline and faith and belief and time. So let time work on your behalf and take time to get to know your unconscious. While this work is not always the most glamorous, it actually ends up being that way when the result comes because when you're diving through the tunnels with a flashlight or digging up your grave or something like that, doing some spooky haunted house shit, trying to understand the workings of your shadow, it might not be the most fun. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes you have to find all the repressed emotion that you'd rather not deal with. But when we clear up the darkness, when we really find who we are unconsciously, then we can start to create equilibrium between our conscious, our subconscious, and our superconscious. The word is alignment, okay? Saturn in Pisces asks us to clear karma as well. And what that means is to become more responsible, to become more intentional and more accountable for our energy and ourself. And that also means denying escape, denying projection, and denying blame. You hear me? Just saying again, everything serves, everything has its purpose in the universe. So sometimes it's kind of counterintuitive slash self-defeating or harmful even to others when we always just want to find problems or we want to improve ourselves through the assumption that there is something to be fixed. Saturn in Pisces is also, and especially with us having Neptune very close, these two are going to make a conjunction at some point. Let's fast forward a little bit because it's going to be some time. I forget. I'm pretty sure it was like this year. It'll be next year when Saturn and Neptune make a conjunction. So we'll talk about it next year, guys. But just know that, life is very deep. Life is spiritual, and you can't mistake the map for the terrain. What I genuinely mean is that you're not meant to be perfect in this life. So allow yourself to be human. That's what I was saying there, guys. Uranus and Taurus is asking us all to just say, fuck the bullshit. And while the frequency of the planet in the universe is ascending, so is everybody else on the planet. So that does create liberation and change. And that's the most neutral way to explain Uranus and Taurus. I think the most positive message I can give everybody is just be calm in the chaos, calm in the storm. Our job right now is to see how relaxed and centered we can be. And that in itself is going to increase our resourcefulness. So that's very beautiful. While it can be kind of counterintuitive, slowing down speeds us up during Uranus and Taurus by really honoring our limits, honoring ourselves, and just considering our true needs, like beyond all the superfluous extra shit that society or versions of ourselves has imprinted on us. If we can simplify and bring things back to the basics, back to our roots, back to the homestead, even, that can actually be a cause for tremendous growth and acceleration within all of our lives. Okay. Neptune in Pisces retrograde this week, guys. This is also an outer planet, so we're not going to see this moving anywhere near as fast as Saturn or Uranus. But know that Neptune reflects the culture, and it's the dream we wish to manifest, and it's a dream of transcendence and eternal beauty. And I think the word is, bliss. That's the most beautiful thing about Neptune and Pisces. But the most horrible thing about this shit is disillusionment and pollution. As above, so below. So psychologically, disillusionment means, recognizing false belief or having your bubble burst or realizing what you hope for doesn't really exist. So try not to be lost when it comes to Neptune in the sign of Pisces. Sometimes you don't even know if you know where you are until you lose yourself. So that's kind of a beautiful thing as well when it comes to our journey, our chapter, the movie we live in. And again, don't expect yourself to be perfect, guys. This is going to be a more important theme over the year as this conjunction goes closer. But I really think the beautiful result of it is that we're going to be more accepting on a even unconscious level of ourself in life. And what's wrong with that? I don't see any issues there. I think that's actually quite a beautiful thing. And Pluto in Aquarius, guys, we got about 20 years of this shit. And Pluto Aquarius just says, by changing yourself, by evolving yourself, you can change this fucking world. And coming together is key because we can always create more with the unified effort as opposed to an individual one. Being afraid of each other is not the key right now. It's about trusting and loving yourself enough to be able to invest and collaborate with the world. Can you lead? Is the question Pluto's asking us right now. Leadership only happens through example. So beyond what you think you know, demonstrate it with action, okay? And let the results speak for themselves. Let success be thy proof. Other thing I want to show you guys, well, really two things. I'm gonna end this breakdown off because this is basically the whole chart. We've got two things. We've got Lilith and Libra, and we've got a pseudo Aries stellium, if you want to call it that. So Lilith is the lunar apogee. It's how we feel on our deepest level, okay? We spent a lot of time talking about the moon today. And just know that the moon is elliptical in its orbit. So as it goes through the chart, you'll see it go closer and further to the planet because it's elliptical. And Black Moon Lilith is really this degree, this geometric point that shows us the furthest the moon can really be in its orbit, okay? And that does show us our most hidden needs. So I hope the logic is logicking. And you could also consider this to be repressed emotion or maybe just things that we aren't considering that life is going to force us to connect with. And the beautiful thing about this is it's the sign of beauty. It's the sign of Libra. And I think what this is really saying, there's no coincidence to me saying this so many times, guys. I feel like good messages don't need to change, but this is like exhibit E, which says this world needs more love desperately, y'all. This world needs more kindness. It needs more compassion. And it starts with you. It starts with loving and embracing yourself. Take it from somebody with Lilith and Libra. So I'm speaking from my heart. I experience this energy every single day. While Lilith and Libra does give a very empowering, vision of beauty and balance and equanimity and even perfection. Like it's the scales. Things need to be balanced and nice and zeroed in and perfect. I think the worst thing about this is that perfectionist tendency where life itself can be disillusioning because, nothing's perfect. We can have these moments of perfection where it's like, wow, I'm drinking a smoothie in my garden and the sun is nice and it's not too hot and it's a little bit windy and it's not too windy and my stuff's not blowing around and there's no mosquitoes biting me right now and I just feel good, and the birds are singing in a way that I like. But then it's like the same exact scenario could play out where everything else is fine, but damn it, it's just 5 degrees too hot, or damn it, these bugs just keep biting at me, or I don't like the towel I'm sitting on in the garden. Like, I wish I had a better yard blanket or some shit like that. So it's this perfectionism that can actually be kind of debilitating. So I think when it comes to Lilith Libra, there's sometimes a need to embrace the things that are not nice. And I think that's where we may kind of fall short. And this is really interesting, guys, because we have Lilith approaching the South Node. They're actually approaching each other if you really think about it. But that's going to say that Lilith energy needs to be released as well. Libra energy needs to be released. They both do. And Libra is the scales, the beauty sign, the relationship sign. So this would indicate anything that holds us back from equanimity has got to go. Whoa. So there's a lot of things that we could say about that. And I think vanity is the word that really comes to my mind. The appearances of things, you know, trying to leave behind a more superficial way of living our lives, valuing integrity, valuing what's going on internally, the interior, the integrity. Fuck how this shit looks. How does it actually work? You know? And once we get the function down, then we can start to work on the form, okay? And really, this is something that kind of came up with Pluto and Aquarius, and you can see there's even a trine from Pluto. We'll have this grand air trine too. I just noticed Mars is going to be connected as well, but I think this gift that we're receiving is confronting our fears around intimacy, connection, and people. And often by expecting the worst about others, we can draw out that energy by coming into a relationship with the wrong motives, intentions, or fears. Okay. And I'm probably gonna. I know over the 9 months of this transit, I'll repeat that shit, man. But I'm really seeing that's a real key, and it's a real theme. Is that if you don't lighten your load, if you come into a relationship with all types of baggage and you don't know how to release it or aren't working on setting it down, you may miss it, and you may kind of assume that other people have the baggage when it might be you holding that shit, and they're just mirroring it back to you. Okay. Lilith Libra is a highly empowering placement, man. But the worst part of it is when we draw the worst out of others because we don't see our own shadow until it's reflected to others by others. So let's talk about the process of individuation, guys. All this Aries energy. This says that if we're releasing Libra on the South Node, we're pursuing Aries on the North Node. And that's the sign of self. It's the first sign. It talks about how we literally exist. I just be vibing, right? So Aries gives us a call right now to explore the self, to pursue our own personal endeavors and interests. And if that's not clear, let me repeat, guys. If you don't have a goal or a target, you are the target. Okay. And that's not meant to be threatening or malicious or scary. It just means if nothing externally excites you, focus on you internally and grow and get the benefit of intrinsic rewards, intrinsic motivation, internal locus of control. Okay. AKA self development. And every day you get to reap the rewards of the energy you put in yesterday, you know, growing and becoming a more evolved version. And this process is somewhat disillusioning, guys, because it's creative destruction too. And I think this is also kind of key with Chiron and Eris up in the mix. But in order to build a version, you have to let go of the last version you had. And your iOS might be like updating and you're like, damn, I kind of liked Windows 7, but now we're here on 10 or some shit like that. So if you feel like you don't understand yourself because you're not the person you are yesterday, that's actually a pretty good sign that you are growing in some regard. So again, don't forget about the Leo energy, especially Mercury, where the way you describe this life is seriously the way it's going to unfold for you. You get to be the main character and the narrator and the director and the script writer. So you lucky motherfucking duck. starring in your own movie. So make sure it doesn't suck. You got a great story, so tell it beautifully, okay? Take your time. And when it comes to Eris and Mars here, or Eris and Chiron here, being ruled by Mars, these two don't move too fast, guys. I see Eris stationing retrograde. And I think on a cosmic level, I said this before, but I really want to kind of share my vision with you guys that Eris is the planet of war and Chiron is the asteroid of healing. So as these two come closer and closer, I feel like our planet is healing the energy of war. And we'll see this conjunction kind of operate for the next couple years, is what it's looking like. Because these two don't move too fast. Like I just moved it forward month by month. It'll be May of 2025 when they finally connect. But it seems like the times we're living through, like the energy of war, deception, and contention is really being phased out personally by all of us. And then as a result, we'll be able to see this in our society, okay? And I really think about this as being a protector to oneself and knowing that life is primal and raw. And even though we've been able to develop society and, you know, we have so many blessings, guys. If you're listening to this video in the first world, you have so many blessings. You can count them all day and miss half of them for real. So beautiful times are coming, guys. And by learning to take contention off of yourself with yourself, we can seek and find more equanimity with the world. Okay. Protect yourself. Take this raw primal energy that forces us all to evolve and exist and develop yourself. Learn how to heal yourself. Learn how to work with energies. And then your interaction with everybody will be improved every single day. Okay. That's a lot to say. That's about all I got for you guys. That's my whole picture of the solar system. If you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like or a fire emoji in the comments so I know that you saw the vision, that you received it, Fire Family. I love you from the depths of my soul. I hope this uplifted you. I hope this enlivened you. I hope this added the perspective to your life that you needed as well. I get so much joy making these videos for you guys. So I'm going to call this one a wrap. I'm going to send it to YouTube, and I will see you guys pretty soon. So let me know if there's any way I can improve upon this too. I would really like to know you guys' feedback. I felt like taking it a day by day as well, so you can kind of get the vibe of the moon too, okay? But that's all I got for you guys. Mr. Meyer with the fire, out. Blessed be.